Well, listeners, here we are, the season one wrap up, final episode. On one hand, I cannot believe how much content and how long it took and everything to create compared to what I had expected. On the other hand, wow, did everything fly by? And I think with Todd, I used the reference, in one of the ways that I kind of objectively use identify my synchronicities, as I've kind of nicknamed it Graham time versus God time, right? They both start with G's. And once again, had I been given everything that I wanted in the way that I wanted it, it would not have been nearly as good as it ended up turning out by letting things just unfold as they should, right? Just allowing myself to go with the flow, follow the universe's algorithm, right? And things turned out much better. So, I will definitely acknowledge that my definite hope, faith, and belief was rewarded in that respect. Right. And hopefully you saw me become comfortable and more comfortable in my own skin as well, right? Between the first episode and the final episode of season one. And if there were a couple of things that were really important for me that I was hoping that everybody would take away from it and now you really get that you thought maybe I was being kidding, but when I was being very literal, when I said, never heard about it, never thought of it that way. It makes sense when you say it that way. Oh, okay. Right. Because that's half the battle, right? Is being able to step in and see things from another perspective. And then many times we can see things from another perspective, another dimension of reality, right? Then we can apply that to our own experiences, draw the common grounds, give the grace, understand how we're all going through our stuff, help each other through it through support as opposed to judgment, right? And then and through that, then we really start laying the foundation for healing, as individuals, as relationships and society, because we can start understanding, appreciating, valuing differences, understanding that hurt people. And so let's help heal people, right? And recognize when we see these things and we see people hurting, they don't need to be kicked when they're down. They don't need to be judged, right? They need to be helped, understood, let them get their feet underneath them, right? And given the grace that we would want ourselves to be given, right? In those same situations, right? I mean, at the end of the day, life is life. We're all here, right? I know it seems like this big, crazy rocket and billions of people and everything else, but if you look around at the moment, nobody else is stopping by to say hi. So far it's just us. So I think we owe it to ourselves, to make this the best us that we can. And I know there's plenty of people that have said the same thing a million different times, and plenty of people out there saying the same things. And that's right. And it's just, time for all of us people saying that stuff to start to come together and start to gain strength in numbers. So anyway, moving along here before I get overly emotional on myself here. And so, as a part of the reflection, a friend of mine challenged me on a topic, and it was good because it gives me an opportunity to kind of clarify, right? And that is, when I talk about trusting the universe to provide, there's a story that maybe, that's shared where there's a flood and there's somebody on the roof, and a boat comes by and they say, "Hey, I'm here to save you." He goes, "No, I'm waiting for, God or whoever I believe in, whatever it is, right?" And then, a helicopter flies by or whatever and says, no, I'm waiting for somebody else, right? Or I'm waiting for, whatever who I believe in to save me, right? And then something else comes by and he said, no, I'm waiting for whoever to save me. And then he ends up dying. And then he goes to wherever he goes where he believes. And he goes, "Hey, what the heck? I was waiting for you to save me." He goes, "I sent you a helicopter, I sent you a boat, and I sent you whatever. And you sent them all away. What else did you want me to do for you?" Right? And so what we've really been trying to demonstrate here is how to listen to when the universe is providing for you and understanding for you, because it's like, well, hey, if this happens for you, great. But I certainly am not trying to set this expectation that the universe providing means that money magically appears in your bank account or that things go away without having to do the work. No, right? What we've demonstrated here is people that did the work and how the universe is provided and understanding how to read those synchronicities. And sometimes, the universe talks to us with sugar. Sometimes it's a little salty, right? And so some different ways that that I am referring to when I talk about the universe trusting to provide is that, look, if I'm on my own path and being true to myself and the universe and what I'm here to do, yeah, that's also part of the deal, right? And expecting the universe to provide for me. And remember, we all of our paths look different. And also, the people that cross my path in life and when they cross my path, right? That definitely, I do not just attribute to randomness. The timing and randomness for that matter at all, just of things occurring and when people come out of the work out of the past or opportunities. Um, it's just, I talked about it being about learning how to listen. And the other thing I want to get across too is that a lot of the reason why a lot of this is about learning how to listen is because right now we're operating inside of all kinds of various different systems, right? This isn't just, the way things were always created. There's all kinds of stuff going on out there, right? And so acknowledging that there's practicalities and realities that exist in today's systems are like money is needed to pay for rent and pay for places to live and things of that nature, right? And so when one operates inside of those systems, well, they're going to have to recognize that the way that the universe is going to be able to talk and work with and support with them is going to be, to an extent, limited by and focused on being able to operate inside of those systems. Either way, hey, that's the choice everybody gets to make, right? That's a beautiful thing about having an individualized experience and journey here on Earth. But what is key, right, is the thing that I definitely want people to take away is all of the different ways that everyone's talked about how the universe talks to them, or however they want to fill in the blank, right? Talks to you. What you call it is secondary to the fact of you hearing and receiving the guidance to get to where you want to go to be the best human you can be, right? And so, and the other reason why I wanted it to, and one of the things I talked about too, is I think I joked around about, didn't make any sense to me when I read stuff in books, but then after I went through it and looked at it in hindsight, it's okay, I can understand why they wrote it that way, right? And while I haven't really touched, too much on specific labels and things, just because I also don't want to alienate anything, whether you want to call it ESP or additional human abilities or just abilities beyond the traditional five senses, right? That's definitely an aspect of unlocking the human potential, right? And so when it comes to that, one thing that I also really want to get across that I haven't maybe taken the time to is to say, and if maybe you came across it already, and if so, great, wonderful, you're ahead of me, is that I didn't know all these things about me, right? And so I didn't know all these things about me, and I've gone through plenty of, coachings and therapies and spirituals and this and that, right? And it's only in the last few years I've understood these things about myself. And so if I didn't know all these things about me with access to all these tools, helps, and exposure, what don't you know about you? And that's really what I'm hoping to spark your interest on. Because one thing I can promise you is that I'm not claiming to know what's on the other side of it, but I can assure you that's a heck of a lot more than what you are today. And I can also tell you that whatever journey you choose to take, if you choose to go down that path, it's worth it. What's waiting for you on the other side? Because it's you, right? I mean, it's just more of you. What you're knowing right now is just one dimension of you. And so, I wanted to demonstrate kind of living a life a little bit more just broadly. We talk about intuition led or whatever throughout this to avoid that. But I did want to share a few sayings that maybe I've heard that made me want to kind of distill down some of those abilities from some of the stuff that can be much more flashy, attractive, or fun to much more of the practical, real life stuff. Because so many people don't even are operating that way without recognizing it. And in other ways, we're downplaying our abilities and that prevent us from locking into that, all of which are sad. So here's some that we do that to kind of minimize ourselves and to prevent ourselves from and almost weaponizing the learning process. We say the error is human. Well, where does the error lie if we're meant to live and learn? The only error then is not learning, right? And improving as we go. And so, for that whole thoughts of avoiding mistakes, now that's like weaponizing the learning process. It's only a mistake if you didn't learn. Now, again, I'm being overly broad in general. I'm assuming that things are moral, ethical, inside the law, not harming others, things of that nature. Okay, right. And so and also then it just becomes this limiting belief that it's just that being human is just about messing up and making mistakes versus having instead of being penalized for making these mistakes that you should have known better, instead of realizing that Earth actually provides this beautiful living and learning environment to create your own hypotheses and to test and to learn and to try it out and to figure it out for yourself and to figure you out. And that's what this is all about. And then another limiting thing that I hear people talk about, this comes up more in some of the spiritual communities, is talking about like, well, our little minds or our human minds can't comprehend these things. Yes, they can. That's what this is all about. And if you and maybe this dimension of you can't comprehend it, but who the dimension of you that's waiting on the other side can. That much I can assure you. Let's see here. Oh, and then I was out to dinner with somebody and things were getting tense, and they were like, I felt like you were getting angry, frustrated, and about to get up from the table. And I'm like, and you didn't think that was like reading energy? And they're like, well, no, I hadn't thought about it. Well, no, that's exactly what it is. Because yes, that's exactly what I was pondering right then and what I was feeling myself. Right. And so, but because you acted on it a certain way, I recognized it, right? The situation was, was diffused and it was handled more productively. But the fact of not recognizing that and thinking about those as gifts and intuition, right? And I'm hoping there's a lot of people going, oh my gosh, wait, I've done that. Yes, exactly. All right. And other ones that have been common is feeling different based on the clothes that I wear or the clothes that I wear around certain people or in the circumstances, or why even sometimes this outfit felt this way with this group of people, but I felt differently at this time, right? Right. And so that's just about it's about understanding how your surroundings affect you, how your clothes affect you, how your moods. Right. And again, that's part of this understanding the science of you experiment that you're meant to figure out. Another one is being very drawn to nature or water, especially maybe during times of stress or turmoil or seeking answers, or when trying to, when just maybe run down, or if you feel like that's maybe a place of peace, right? None of those things are coincidences. There's reasons why your bodies and you are feeling drawn to those things, right? And that's part of learning to explore that. Let's see here. What else were some of the things that we wanted to try and wrap up? Oh, yes. Another thing too is if you notice all of the stuff that we talked about and we talked about the successes that people had, it was about leveraging cooperation with people, cooperation with energies, cooperation with control, or with the environment and the surroundings. It wasn't about control of people and surroundings and energies and things of that nature, right? And so one of the other things that really happened that was really awesome and amazing was that through the guests and then myself and real life example with Todd, is that we were able to walk through, I think kind of some of the main buckets of fears that can inhibit us and hold us back from going from, this dimension of ourself to our total self. And that's the fear of judgment, fear of criticism, ill health, loss of love, not being loved, right? And the fear of poverty in one way, shape, or form or another. All of those fears have been addressed, right? And in many cases, they a lot of them involved, hitting a bottom, right? Where, and I can tell you, I did not say this in jest by any means when I said regarding poverty. I was at such a low point in my life. I said, I will literally live out of my car again before I allow myself to go back to feeling this way, just to survive again. I mean, that's how literal, and that was, believe me, I was very literal. I made that choice for myself, right? But a lot of the, what I also found, and which one of the things that was beautiful by allowing those fears to present themselves real time, right? You saw Todd and I have had a very deep relationship and very nuanced and complex as well, right? And I absolutely opened myself up to judgment and criticism, look at loss of love of a friend, right? In those situations. But I wanted to see how it turned out, and look, and believe me, there are people that aren't in my life like they were. Doesn't mean they may come back. That happens plenty of times, right? I'm not burning any bridges, but there are definitely people that are not nearly spending so much time in my life as they have, based on what I've gone through in my changes, and that's cool, right? They got their journey, I got mine. What matters is they do them and I do me, and we're being our best human selves that we can be. But then the other thing that Todd also helped, right, was going through that reflection, and by me embracing or not embracing, but yeah, embracing courage to overcome those fears, recognizing how much of those fears were in my own head that I made up for even myself, how much I was my own worst enemy. Through reflection with Todd, how many times in my life and how many great times in my life that I didn't allow myself to fully enjoy and appreciate. And there's so much more that I could have, right? Admittedly, and I appreciate tremendously Todd for speaking up on so many of those things and challenging me about those good times in the past and forcing me to absolutely acknowledge, and for anybody that I spent time with working, believe me, the people that I was blessed to work with are what kept me going all the time, and wanting to try to create better systems, even though feeling misunderstood and otherwise. Um, but I absolutely um, had genuine, you know, in my own ways, my love and gratitude and appreciation for all of the people that I had the pleasure of crossing paths with, and my relationships with everybody was definitely very different, and it was as we're all individuals, but by embracing that with Todd, right, there was so much beauty that came out of that, in being able to reframe so many, frankly, so many traumatic memories, right, into beautiful ones, and seeing those times and recognizing where I was seen when I didn't realize that I was seen, and people seeing the good in me that I wasn't even allowing myself to see, right, or so many times again where I was my own worst enemy, but um, and then seeing and talking and seeing others and talking about how them embracing their courage and going through the fears, and how they were actually what they thought would happen compared to really what would happen, right, to help everybody there relate to something, to help you feel more comfortable to take those steps, and right, and nobody said, hey, no, you're not going to get any lumps along the way, but what everybody said was, it's worth it, focus on the learning, right, that's where, and hey, here's some things to be prepared for to help you along the way, and that's what this is all about. you know and then the other last kind of underlying thing that this was all about, and why it's so important to learn how to connect to your body's wisdom, connect to your guides, connect to the universe, connect to your higher self, whatever you want to call it, is because humans aren't designed to require a middleman to be able to become their best selves and to receive help. Now, if they want to have a subject matter expert to work with, then they should. I certainly use subject matter experts, right? But I absolutely recognize that my ability to have a relationship and to receive guidance, doesn't require me being a part of any formalized anything. However, if like anything, happiness is living a life of self-guided choices. So doing and being a part of those things by choice, right, because somebody's wanting to go through that experience, is absolutely a wonderful thing. When somebody's being forced to go through those things because they don't believe they have any other choices, now that's not a wonderful thing. So that's what we're trying to guard against, right? There is no person, regardless of the science, the religion, the spiritual belief system, whatever it is, none of that should ever, 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 ever result in the marginalization of any person. If that's what, and that's why I say that there isn't a middleman needed, because you're not going to be marginalized by the creator. That's some man-made stuff. And that's some stuff we all need to work together to get rid of. And so with that, what I'll say is at the end of my challenging the status quo episode, we went through a little exercise. And so I want to invite you to join me on my exercise that I'm bringing to life, which is very much that, which is, hey, I think about what does a world of equality look like? What does a world of equal access and choices and exposure and opportunity look like for people? Right? What does it look like if we really have a system that provides a level playing field? And how do we promote that? How do we bring that together? And how do we really provide a system of governance that's representative of the people and ensuring that everybody has a voice at the table equally? Right? And so I put that together. And I invite you to join me there. Check it out. And if it resonates with you, please come be a part of it. It's at engensolutions.com. ENGENSOLUTIONS.com. And lastly, as I wrap up this episode, and we literally now wrap up season 1, which which was such a delight. It really, so much better than I thought it was going to be. Is to say, hey, if all this resonates with you, okay, this is great. How do I get started? Where can I go from here? Well, and that's what we're going to focus on here in season 2, is bringing together some of the subject matter experts that I worked with, right, along the journey. And these subject matter experts that I work with fully will acknowledge themselves that way. Hey, man, I'm a coach. I'm a mentor. I'm a subject matter expertise. I don't stand in the way between you and the divine or whatever you believe in, right? I'm just here to help you along the way. And here's different healing modalities, tools, teaching disciplines, philosophies. I don't know, whatever. I've run across the gambit of things. The point is, right, I'm going to continue and now walk you through how I've been my own human guinea pig, so that I can bring this knowledge to you and to help to build these bridges by walking through it, all these various footsteps. And then in season 3, this is the current plan. Again, we'll see how it goes. If the universe lets me know otherwise, is to then bring together listeners as well as then these various subject matter experts together, and can then kind of do a live version of Understand the Science of You, focus on whatever it is that you, the listener, wants to focus on. And I think that'd be a wonderful exercise to go through for, constantly. So much learning and able to be done there. So I really hope that you've enjoyed this. I can't thank you enough if you've taken the time to listen to this. Even if you took 3 minutes, hey, I appreciate it. I hope it's been I hope it's been worth the 3 minutes. And so I guess what that means is I'm kind of saying see you later for a little bit. Gives you a chance, for those of you that did only catch the 3 minutes, to do some binge watching and catch up by the time I come back here with season 2. All right. And as I said, this this is written on the Science of You podcast.com website, is all of this is, if you find any of this helpful, it's because the universe loves you and it's trying to find a way to give you support. I, myself, guests, we're all just simply conduits. Take care.